Welcome back to Grassroots Radio Colorado. This is Kris Cook. I've got Andy Pate in studio with me. We're talking about how best to get the liberty message out. I mean, is there a place for negativity? Is there a place for outrage? Is there a place to have that type of a conversation in addition to presenting all of the positives? Or do we have to be unrelentingly optimistic with rose-colored glasses and whitewash and sugarcoat everything? How many more metaphors can I throw in there? And that's the thing. You know, for me, that's the thing is you know, how do you take this mix of approaches to these subjects? How do you take this mix and package things so that people are going to hear them the best? They're going to understand them the best. They're going to understand what damage is being done to their lives and how they can fix it. And that's really the purpose of my show, is to try to point those things out, to inform, to inspire, and to activate.
Well, I think we have to keep in mind that people approach you more readily if you have a smile than if you have a frown.
True. But, that's what the laugh is for.
But that's what Kris, you have an evil laugh. That doesn't actually constitute a smile. I know it looks like one. It's not the same thing. But if they'll approach you better if you have a smile than if you have a frown. And if you lead that way, that's great. But how many times have you gotten to know somebody who was always smiling and then they were duplicitous and they were backstabbing? That angered you more than the people who frowned.
Oh, yeah.
So it's got to be a smile, but it's got to be a smile with truth. It's got to be clarity.
It's got to have integrity.
Exactly.
It's got to have integrity. We've got Casper on the line. Casper, welcome to Grassroots Radio, Colorado. What are you doing?
Hey, I am driving home, but I was listening to you guys, and two of my favorite people in the world, so I just wanted to chime in on your topic.
Ah, shucks. Well, what are you thinking?
Well, I think the negative comments are, the negative thought, or people saying that it's negative, it's a smoke screen. It's very similar to the racist type thing, you know, to where they say, well, that's racist, that's negative.
Yeah,
but,
that's true.
You know, that's life. You know, and politics is a dirty business. So you cannot point out what the other side is doing without seeming to be negative. You know, just like if Dave pointed out something, you know, they got negative on Bush 24/7, and they're still negative on Bush. He's out of office for 7 or 8 years, and he is still affecting their psyche in a negative way.
Right. Well, and they've internalized that to such a degree, it's actually sad.
If I can jump in for a second. Hey, everybody, this is Casper Stockham who has called in here, and I can tell you right now, there are not 5 people in the state of Colorado who will more quickly and clearly speak the truth than this man. So let me ask you, Casper, because I've seen you go positive, I've seen you go negative. How do you choose which you're going to do?
Well, I don't even think about positive or negative. I don't really care if they don't like what I say, or if they, you know, I'm not PC at all. I can really care less about PC.
Yay.
I'm more concerned with the truth. So if it's true and if it hurts, I'm sorry, if the truth does hurt. And sometimes it is perceived as being negative, but as long as I'm speaking the truth, as long as, you know, I can look up at my Heavenly Father and realize that what I said was correct, I really don't care what the other side or what anybody thinks. I don't care what, you know, what this side thinks or that side thinks. It's really not a part of my thought process.
But Casper, I'm so offended by that.
I don't think he cares.
I don't really care.
You know, one thing I'll say about you, though, Casper, you're a man of love. And what I mean is this. I wish everybody out there knew who you are. I mean, a lot of them do know who you are. But when you speak the truth to somebody, I've noticed it's always for their benefit. And if it's negative truth, if it's negative truth for their benefit, then you speak that. If it's positive truth for their benefit, you speak that. But the one thing I've always noticed about you is when you talk, it's what's in it for them and not Casper. And I think that to me seems like a real dividing line. It's not so much are you negative or positive, but why are you saying what you're saying? What's your motives? Are you doing it for them or you?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And I'm just trying to point out the truth, and you know, but I don't leave it there. I don't say, you know, well, you're ugly, and then say, okay, I'm sorry. You know.
Well, you did do that with me once, but I'm okay now.
With Andy,
I got some counseling. I'm fine now.
And with Andy, that's understandable. So
Yeah. But we always try to point out why we're saying what we're saying and what is the solution. Now, there's not much solution for people being ugly, but other than that, if they are doing
I've had some work done.
if they're doing the right thing,
if they're doing the wrong things, we try to point out, well, that's not correct. And again, I don't care if they have an R or a D behind their name. If they're doing wrong things, I point it out.
Good.
And that's what we need to do. And I love Andy's characterization of what you do, that you do it based on what they need to hear. If it's positive truth or negative truth, they still need to hear it. And that's what I try to do as well. I do think that speaks to integrity, and I know you to be a man of integrity.
Well, I appreciate that. If you're talking to a family member who's doing bad things, if they're holding up banks and doing all this stuff, and you say, that's wrong, I think you should stop it, you should get some help. That's not being negative. That's pointing out the fact, and this, the whole movement of Ferguson, the hands up and all that nonsense. Yes, if you're being stopped by police and they have guns pointed at you, it probably would be a good idea to put your hands up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But other than that, you don't need hands up. You need palms down. You need to be picking up tools, picking up books, reading. You need to be doing something productive.
I like that.
Not walking around, with your hands up.
Hey, speaking of that really quick, how's Afric Mall coming?
They're coming along. I think they'll probably be ready sometime late this year.
Okay. Sorry to jump in with that. That's a project that Casper's working on, and it's awesome. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm not working on it, but but they are. It is a place we want to promote once it gets open, right, for sure.
Then I look forward to hearing about it. Casper, I really, really appreciate you calling in. Thank you so much for offering that, because I think you just sort of brought everything into focus for me.
Oh, cool. Well, my job is done then.
Your job is done. You have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much. You're listening to Grassroots Radio Colorado on KLZ 560. This is Kris Cook, and I've got Andy Pate in studio. And what we've been talking about is how to get that liberty message out. What is necessary to getting that liberty message out? And I think what we've come down to here in the last 5 minutes, let me see if you think that I've got this right.
Okay.
We have to speak the truth.
Yep.
Above all else, we have to speak the truth.
But speak it in love.
Speak it in love. And speak it to the people who need to hear it, which is people who need to get involved, people who are being impacted positively or negatively by whatever that truth is, getting that word out there, doing so with insight, doing so with knowledge of what the facts are on the ground, and bringing that to the people.
Absolutely. And I would say doing all of that, the one thing, if you don't want to try to watch every single word you always say, don't try to guide yourself with a roadmap, guide yourself with a compass. And let your inner compass on these things be this. You're looking at that person you're talking to, or you're blogging with, you're blogging with somebody. Think, what is going to benefit them? And sometimes it's going to be harsh mockery. I'm serious.
I love those people, because harsh mockery is a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, some people respond to that. They do. If that's the only thing that's going to wake them up. And, talking again about Casper, I've seen him use that. I've seen him use every tactic, but it's always about what is going to break through to this person, or if I know this person can't be broken through to, what about the people who are listening to the two of us? You're not going to be perfect. But my question is this: what's your motive? Is it for them, or is it to advance you? And I think at times we conservatives do it in ways that to advance ourselves. We mock because we're good at mocking and it makes us look good. Or we criticize because we're good at criticizing and it makes us look good. Are you doing it for them? Are you doing it for the country? Are you doing it for the conservative movement?
Right.
Why are you doing it?
I hope, doing it for the conservative movement and doing it for the country, in my mind, are the same thing.
Absolutely.
Absolutely the same thing, because the principles that we hold dear, the principles that I've come to over the course of 45 years on this planet, are the principles that are going to save this country. And because I know that a lot of people share those principles, I I don't feel a need to be humble in stating that. It's not because Kris Cook thinks it. It's because these are the principles that align with truth, the principles that align with reality.
Right.
And it's taken a long time for me to get to the point where I know those cold and I understand what's going on. But the reason why we do this is simply to save the country. And that's all we're trying to do.
I mean, we're looking at upcoming generations. How can we look at upcoming generations and say we did not fight to undo what's being done to you? How can we look at $18 trillion in debt that's being put on kids who aren't even born yet and be able to say, I did not fight to stop this. I didn't do what I could do to stop this.
And in a world of positivity, in a world of rose-colored glasses, pointing out that we have an $18 trillion debt and it shouldn't go any higher, for goodness sake, that's negativity.
Let me ask you, when does evil triumph?
When good men fail to do anything about it.
Right. When good men do nothing, evil triumphs. Doing something, usually, I believe, is with positive language. It's with building language. But sometimes it's going to take negative. Sometimes you're going to have to overturn some tables in the temple. Okay? Sometimes it's going to have to happen.
I think you're right. Absolutely right. Well, let's change our subject next. When we come back, let's talk about reaching millennials and moving that needle, and talk about ways that you have of how we can do that, how we can move things as we go into 2015, get ready for 2016 in taking that demographic, that huge demographic of millennials, who I think is a lot more conservative than any of us believe, and connecting with them, getting them to understand what it's going to take in order for them to have a future.
Can we talk about free college?
Oh, yeah. You bet we could talk about free college.
Because one of your oil boys there, he said that he really believes that's a good plan. We got to, let's change it.
We'll be right back on Grassroots Radio Colorado on KLZ 560. 560.